You might think that your ED is just a random physical issue, or maybe you think it's because you're getting older. Well, it's neither. If I told you that the dopamine reward center in your brain has been hijacked by the screen, especially explicit matter, what would you say? Well, it's real. Porn-induced erectile dysfunction is happening to more men than ever before. Today, I'm going to show you the most surprising brain effects from porn use that most doctors aren't even aware of, never mind talking about it. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh. Welcome back. I help men who are driven and they want to put porn use and screen addiction behind them to improve focus, mental clarity, strength, confidence, and especially their relationships. So if that's you, if you're looking to put ED in the past so you can rock out your best future, you're in the right place. Let's get started. If you've been struggling with ED for a while and you feel confused, you maybe didn't tell anybody yet, you're embarrassed, well, this is a very serious brain issue. It is to be taken seriously, so I want you to know all about it. Startling scientific statistics show that ED has tripled in young men in the last 2 decades. 26% of men below the age of 40 report erectile dysfunction. Another scientific study shows that high-speed internet pornography is at the root of a dramatic increase in erectile dysfunction in men under the age of 40. And guess what? Many of these men report that they can't even respond to that little blue pill anymore. What's going on there? Over 50% of men under the age of 30 report sexual arousal dysfunction, what I call SAD, due to porn use. So many times it plays out like this, that you can be aroused when you're consuming porn, but you can't be aroused when you go to be with your partner, even when you try the little blue pill. This is because of the desensitization in your brain. We'll talk about that next. Another interesting scientific study shows that the earlier someone finds porn or is exposed to it, the higher likelihood that that person will struggle with erectile dysfunction or delayed ejaculation later in life. But there's good news that on forums like NoFap, many men report that when they step away from porn and do the work to heal their brain, that they make a full recovery from porn-induced erectile dysfunction. So let's figure out how to do just that. Okay, these statistics might be overwhelming, but at the core, porn use desensitizes the dopamine receptors in the midbrain, in that reward center that's very important for real-life pleasure. So if you keep clicking the easy button and flooding your brain with dopamine, it makes it so that you can't become aroused sexually with your partner, and also your real-life pleasure decreases. The work you used to love, not so much anymore. Those hobbies you used to do, you step away from doing them because all you want to do is click that easy button for the flood of dopamine. So first, let's sound the warning bells. Your first warning sign that porn use is desensitizing your brain is that you can't become aroused with your partner, even if you can become aroused through porn. Porn is what I consider a level 20 supernormal stimulus. It means it lights your brain up with pleasure. Even if your partner is a solid 10, on a good day, there's still a 10-point spread between him or her and that supernormal stimulus of porn. That's your first warning sign. Your second warning sign is if you use the little blue pill or any other color to try to become aroused and it doesn't work, there's an even greater level of desensitization happening in your brain. Your brain needs some level of arousal for that pill to work. And if it's not working, it means you're at a higher level of desensitization. Now, here's the sleuthy part of porn use that has always concerned me, that these symptoms creep on slowly before you even recognize it. This is why ED is the biggest wake-up call for so many men, that their porn use is not serving them. So if you feel any other earlier warning signs, I want you to know they're important to listen to. You can't heal what you don't understand. That's why I always say knowledge is power. You've probably heard me say that in the last video. You have to understand that there's brain mechanisms at play here, and that porn is that domino that's setting off the domino effect in the ED or the SAD, sexual arousal dysfunction, that you're struggling with or suffering from. Chronic porn users show a weakened frontal lobe. That's what impacts your focus, your organization, planning, and your arousal. At the same time, that limbic center is set on fire and your brain is stuck in survival mode. I call these patterns drained brain and strained brain to make it easy to understand. They are visualized on a qEEG brain map. I've seen this brain pattern over 1,000 times. This is the brain pattern at the core of porn-induced erectile dysfunction. What does it look like? It's increased alpha brain waves in the frontal lobe. That means your brain is shifted into neutral. That's what makes you feel numbed out, kind of the point of porn. But if it sticks around too long, now you're constantly numbed out and you can't feel pleasure anymore. Strained brain is too much high beta brain waves. This is the fight or flight mechanism in your brain. And for healthy sexual arousal, your brain has to be calm and focused, or at least close to it. If you're stuck in survival and numbed out, it's almost impossible to become sexually aroused. We're talking about neural pathways in your brain. I call them the pleasure pathways. So here's an action step for you. Every time you go to watch porn, think of two paths. To the right is the path of building healthy neural pathways that lead you to real life pleasure in your work, your hobbies, and especially your sexual relationship. Now, that pathway right now has weeds on it. It needs to be trampled more and more and more. Over here to the left, we have that pathway of neurons that are leading you back to porn. We know porn's highly addictive, so this compulsive behavior means your brain needs the dopamine. So this pathway, it's been traversed a lot. It's easier to walk down. But before you watch porn, remember, we have to start trampling the pathway back to real life pleasure. And also, you can't go on that pathway back to porn. We need to weed that one over. In this way, you can rewire your brain back to the healthy, optimal state. You will feel and perform better than ever, and you'll be able to enjoy your real life experiences. I worked with a man in his late 30s. He struggled with porn-induced erectile dysfunction silently for a decade without telling anybody. He went to traditional therapies and practitioners to be told that it was all in his head, that it was performance anxiety. When we did his qEEG brain map, it was there on the screen, plain as day. Strain brain, a brain on fire with stress that was perpetuated by the ED, and at the same time, drain brain from hitting that easy button of porn too many times across his lifetime. By addressing the patterns in his brain through neurofeedback, through abstinence, staying away from porn and all explicit matter, and from some very targeted coaching strategies, he was able to improve the way that his brain was performing to ultimately no longer struggle with ED or with sexual arousal dysfunction at all. He was able to do this in just 4 months. Unfortunately, you can't just willpower your way out of this one. Your brain has been trained to go back to instant gratification. So, where the problem is, so is the solution. You know what it is? It's staying away from instant gratification and instead rewiring your brain to enjoy real delayed gratification. I know what you're thinking. Why would I want a delayed gratification? Because in this way, we can strengthen your brain and we can bring your real life pleasure back on track. So, here's what we're going to do for your brain hack strategy for the day. We're going to do a pleasure pathway reset, and it's going to require a porn and supernormal stimulus detox. So instead of going to porn, create a daily ritual that serves you through delayed gratification. Start with this, a morning ritual. If you don't have this yet, it's important. Get up and don't touch your phone. Instead, read, have some tea, have some coffee, sit quietly, and learn to enjoy being present. Take a cold plunge or a cold shower, especially on your face. That is shown to increase dopamine and to have it linger and sustain at higher levels longer from a healthy, natural stimulus. Then in the evening, go for a walk. I always take Chewy, my dog, for a walk. Don't have AirPods in, don't listen to anything. Allow your day to integrate in your mind. Listen to the wind in the trees. Listen to the birds. If you find you're up here in your head, pull yourself back out. Open your focus and enjoy the walk. Then in the evening, create an evening routine to help bring your brain down and relax. Increase the amount of non-sexual touch. There's scientific studies that show when you build intimacy in this way, you can train your brain to enjoy real life connection again. Give people hugs. It increases not only dopamine, but oxytocin for connection. Sit on the couch next to your honey. All of this is going to help rewire your brain so you can think, feel, and perform better soon. Okay, why does this new plan work? Well, first of all, it reduces those high artificial spikes of dopamine. When you stay away from porn, you won't be getting them anymore. That's why it's important to reset the pleasure pathways back towards those healthy activities and try to get as many of them as you can. In this way, you're dopamine stacking, but from your real life. So that way you won't have to hit the easy button for instant gratification. You'll be teaching your brain to enjoy that delayed gratification at lower levels, but sustainable. Another pro tip is that if you have urges and cravings during this 30-day detox period, write them down. Not only write them down, but try to trace them back to stressors or perceived boredom, that hole that porn used to fill. In this way, you'll be increasing your self-awareness. That's the first pillar of emotional intelligence. And when you're leaving porn behind, we know it's imperative that you increase self-awareness so you can keep moving in the right direction. If you're interested in a free guide, go over to Dr. Trish Leigh because I've created one just for you. It has 32 brain hacks that show you how to get back to real life pleasure and rewire your brain so you won't struggle with erectile dysfunction anymore. You have the power to heal your brain. Most people lose sight of the fact that our bodies are self-healing. All we have to do is push them in the right direction and keep them from going in the wrong direction. So using neuroplasticity, you can do this. It's not about blame. It's not about shame. It's totally about rewiring your brain back to that optimal pattern so that you can feel healthy again. In this way, your mind's going to feel clearer, you're not going to struggle with performance anxiety, and you're going to be able to increase not only your sexual satisfaction and experiences, but round out your real life pleasure. If you're feeling stuck, ashamed, frustrated, the people that you've gone to for help haven't been able to help you, you haven't told anybody in your life, well, we can help you at Dr. Trish Leigh and Company. It's what we do all day, every day. We use advanced neuroscience technology to first visualize how your brain has been impacted by porn. where the erectile dysfunction is coming from in your brain. We can see it and we can show you it too. Once we do that, I set customized protocols just for you based on what your brain needs to heal. Then, when you use brain training, your brain will become stronger than ever, probably. And in this way, you can then go back into your life and enjoy the pleasure that you want and you deserve. So, if you're looking for help, please go over to drtrishleigh.com. Click on the neurofeedback tab, check it out. Reach out to us because I want to help you. The people that work with me, generally speaking, 4 to 6 months later, they're back in business, feeling great, enjoying life. I want that for you. Okay, if you're struggling with ED or sexual arousal dysfunction of any kind, have you ever considered how your brain is impacting your ability to perform and enjoy your sexual relationships? Drop it in the comments. This isn't just about your body, it's about your brain. So think about it and tell me about your experience. Put it in the comments. I read every single one. I want to know what's going on with you. Okay, it's time to take back control of your brain. So click the video that's coming up right now. Join me in the next video on masculine vitality. Let's stay in this together. I can help you. Click that video as it comes up. And remember, control your brain or it will control you.